Where do you find the deep questions to ask yourself? It's really in just being honest with yourself. And for me, at this point in my journey, they come from my still calm knowing. When I tune in, and so I'll ask questions like, what do I need to know today? Right? What do I need to know today sometimes? And that'll steer me in a certain direction, or a certain thought, or a certain image, or a reminder of an experience that I've been avoiding. But it's really that simple. Or one of my favorite questions is, what's in my blind spot? Right? Because it means I've turned away from it, or I'm avoiding it, or I've buried it. Or maybe I was just busy, right? It doesn't always have to be intentional. Sometimes you just have those busy seasons where you have to get things done and something happens, but you don't even have time to think about it because you have to go put out another fire, right? Or save the day, or be superhero for a season until you reach burnout, right? And then you have to come back and save yourself. So always just tuning in, knowing every day, waking up with humility to say, as much as I've been through and as much as I've released, I don't know what today means and what today is totally for. You're always on the brink of the unknown. There's always a new knowing in every moment. And so when you approach life with that, just a clear understanding, objective understanding of how our reality functions, right? Then you're present. Instead of projecting, oh, today's just going to be like yesterday. They're going to do this again. They're going to do that again. Right? And they may. Doesn't mean you have to do that again. Right? You can experience things that are undesirable with a level of clarity and understanding and inner freedom. And so one of the greatest gifts of the practice is welcoming the unwelcomed, because it's about surrender as an act of devotion, recognizing that what is coming is a gift, even if it feels unwelcomed in your body at first. And of course, physical abuse and those kinds of things, stop that. Get out of those situations. I'm talking about an emotional response to an experience. When those things happen, they're activating something within us, part of the ways that we have constructed our reality. It doesn't mean we have to necessarily agree, but find a deeper understanding of yourself and your why and your construct, the mental formations that you've established, right? Because this is what creates our emotional experiences. Those hard, rigid expectations that have been programmed, conscious and unconscious. When unmet, we experience suffering. And then we hold on, because this is what it was supposed to be. We're trying to find that certainty, right? And in that illusion, we find suffering. And so if we let go of this illusion of certainty, there's no more suffering. There's just an expansion of understanding and a letting go and a seeking of alignment, right? So a path of freedom is a path of seeking, a path of openness, a path of curiosity, a path like we practice today of question, pause, and allowing the answer to arise. Just witness. So much freedom in that. Sometimes the response is physical, things tighten. Yeah, that's the energy in your body. It's showing you where the tension is, showing you where you're holding it in your physical form. It's information. So tuning in, say, okay, you feel it in your chest. What is that trying to communicate to you? Where is that coming from? When was the first time I felt that way? It's my favorite question, because it's usually just activating an old wound, scarred tissue. And then asking, what is the most loving response I'm available for? What's the most loving response I'm available for, that I have the capacity to be present to this tension, this pain with in this moment? Hello, friend. Thank you. Right? And tuning into that. Because all that love is doing is releasing the conditions you've placed on that tension. That's where you're holding. Soften, open, let go. You are bigger than every experience. Your soul is so much more expansive than the small things you try to cling to as your identity. You're still here, that moment's over. The only thing that's keeping you stuck is the should've, could've, would've, right? Which is a state of scarcity, a state of not knowing that you are this expansive being meant to expand through the pain into greater love. And that's what today's all about, is receiving that kind of love, a deeper love. What did you learn about yourself through that heartbreak, heartache, that disappointment? Take that gold with you. Let the rest of it fall to the ground like the leaves that are about to fall in this season, to be alchemized by the earth in their own timing, nice, gently, and slowly. New nitrogen, carbon, and hydrogen into the earth to nurture the roots of the trees that are standing tall. That's what we're supposed to do with these experiences. Not judge them, not cling to springs of seasons past. Let it go, because what's ready to blossom, maybe it's the 5th year for your fruit tree, right? And now you're actually going to get some fruit and not just flowers. One of the most interesting things I was learning in is exploring this land, because I'm learning, very much a novice. But I have these natural muscadine grapes here. They grow everywhere. See the vines, but don't see fruit. At least not in this part of the land that's all shaded, got the tall trees in this overstory. And what I learned is the vines grow. They are fast. You see the flowers, beautiful leaves. But if they don't get enough sunlight, they don't fruit, right? And that's like many of us. A lot of us grow in love, right? But we don't stay open to our loving light to bear fruit, right? So you have to stay open long enough, right? Or in many cases, plant yourself in the light with a new community, right? Healthier boundaries, where there's sunlight shining, so that you can not just grow tall like these muscadines that are growing all the way up at these 100-foot trees, but that you can bear fruit. Because that's what you want. That's what we all want. That's what this practice is about. Growing tall so we can bear that fruit that we know is within us, all those dreams, all those visions, things that we're longing for. But that love, releasing the conditions you've placed on your happiness, releasing the conditions that you've placed on your life, right? We don't realize that we're anchored to them, but they show up in all of your I can'ts. My life is blah. Somebody said their life is effed earlier, and I saw it and I felt so sad, because one, I've been there, I can relate, so no judgment. But that statement, they don't realize they are creating an effed life, right? Because they've decided not just that it's a difficulty or a challenge, because that's all that we're experiencing in those moments. We judge it, and then we anchor ourselves to that judgment. And that's the foundation for our prison. That's all judgment is. It's a prison we create, not just for others, but for ourselves. It creates a hard partition and a diminishment of our capacity to love, express, connect, and be free in this world and life. That's why we don't judge. Right? Not an easy one to achieve. Judgment is the easy move, right? But to expand more deeply, more open and loving, you have to let that go. You have to let that go. Everything is a mirror. Can I expand on everything being a mirror? Yeah. So what we don't realize, everything that I'm saying is coming from this truth that we are constructing our reality. I'm not talking about the objective truth that I'm sitting before you, a man of a certain age, in the woods, in Arkansas, for whoever was asking where I'm from, or you on your phone. But the reality that says, oh, you're making all kinds of ideas and assumptions and assertions about what you're hearing and seeing. You're comparing it to your experiences. You're saying it's true or it's not true, or that aligns, or your mind's running this way and that way, and thinking about all of these other things, and that in tandem with whatever else is objectively happening in your world, right? And so it's a mirror. The incessant narratives and judgments and assertions that you're making about everything that you experience, right? The conventional designations, that they call it in Eastern traditions, which are just labels. And it's just a label, it's just a name we give something. It doesn't mean that's what it is. It's just the name we give it, right? And so anything that you experience in your objective reality that we decide, oh, this person is just, okay, that's the mirror. They're just what? What's the judgment? Why are you seeing them as that, right? And usually whatever that judgment is a reflection of something we're holding. Maybe somebody else in our past was that way. A particular language, a particular way of being with us that was very harmful, caused damage, and we didn't get to process it well. So it's still with us. It might be that tension in the chest, those tight hips, right? Whatever it is, we hold it in our physical body. And those things are activated by this person. The same thing that we've been avoiding, that we don't want to feel. They are a mirror. Because what that person objectively is in their own experience. They may be wounded, but they are not finitely and only whatever label you're giving them. Be it an ass or a jerk or rude. They may be expressing themselves rudely, right? As we define it in this culture. Right? You go to some Asian cultures, some parts of the world, it's not rude to stand very close to someone, right, in a public setting. They're all relative. So it's mirrors. Even that summation of rude is relative to the mirror of your culture. Some cultures it's very common and actually polite to be very direct and say you're overweight. Right? Not in America. It's all relative. So it's a mirror for you, for your experience and the constructs, right? All the rules that we've put on life and said this is right, this is wrong, these are our norms, this is not. Right? I'm not advocating for this, but in some tribes, right, they were cannibals. That was their norm. As, let's say that for like shock value, right? Nobody's trying to do that, but I'm just saying it's all relative. It's all mirrors, right? The mirror is we set these rules unconsciously for ourselves in the world. And we think they apply to everyone always. And everyone has done this. We keep projecting them on other people and they don't meet that uncommunicated expectation. We're hot and bothered by it. Instead of allowing ourselves to recognize that that is a reflection of my perspective, my construct, the mental formations. In that moment, you can pause, like we did here, hold space, and just be curious. Can you sit with it without the judgment? Can you sit with your discomfort without identifying with it? That's where the gold is in this practice, right? It's the gift of meditation and mindfulness. So I hope that answers your question. Is there any other questions? How do we deal with real anxiety when we have real unknowns, like people of Nepal now without government? compassion. Sometimes our fundamental needs, right, aren't available to us, like a government to hold the society, and we need to have compassion. And so I wouldn't say deal with the anxiety. I would say feel the anxiety. Be present to it. Breathe. Notice what parts of you are clinging and wanting to control but can't be controlled entirely in the moment. Honor that desire for a healthy government, for safety and security within your own home, within your own country. And be present to that feeling with compassion. That may not be the answer you wanted, but at a certain point we also have to be clear that there is a limit to what we can do in certain situations. And we're not meant to avoid the human experience of all of these emotions. We're meant to feel them deeply and manage them well. And that's what I advocate for. I think some people can stay in like a toxic positivity thing, where it's just, it has to be positive all the time, whatever that means. I don't even like to use that word, positive or negative, because it starts framing life in dualities when there's so much more nuance that we experience. But breathing, finding what you need that helps you anchor and ground, right? Walking barefoot. There's plenty of breath work, EFT, tapping, all kinds of practices. What do you do if you find yourself acting like someone you once loved in an unhealthy way? Forgive. That's the thing we don't realize. This tension isn't just holding the emotion, it's holding the energy of the experience. And if you're holding it, you're embodying it in an unconscious way. And like this person is saying, I just started acting like someone they once loved in an unhealthy way. Forgive. And this is why there's a Tonglen practice of just like me. Just like me, this person is having a moment of losing themselves or whatever it is, right? No judgment, connection, compassion. Forgive. That's the key. To have an evening practice of meditation. Each evening I have a meditation I do for myself before bed. And it's just laying down and letting go. It's the easiest version of it. I have any number of them that I intuitively kind of shift through. I've never been one to have a very rigid kind of Zen approach to things. Although I guess the rigidness of it is that I'm going to meditate or have some kind of mindfulness practice daily in the morning and evening, but it's not always the same one. But the easiest one to start is laying down and letting go. And as you lay down in bed, actually I'm going to partner this with the recapitulation practice. This might be a more tangible way to practice it. So the recapitulation is reviewing your day as a fast-forward time lapse. And so what you're looking for is any chinpa, any clinging. Where are you holding? So you can lay down in your bed after you turn off all the lights and things and phones. And just breathe. Give yourself 5-10 minutes. Calm. And then review your day. Allow it to play as a fast-forward time lapse. There was a season we did this every weekend in the Beautiful Souls community. We did it on Saturday mornings. And see what you remember about your day from the time you woke up and started brushing your teeth until you laid down. And notice where you wanted to pause, right, or where there were gaps in the day. The places where you want to pause or where you're clinging, and the places where there are gaps is where you're avoiding. Try not to judge in those moments. Just try to be present to those. your patterns of clinging and avoiding, right? Which is another kind of clinging, but to whatever that wasn't. And then if there's something to kind of be with, right? Maybe I had a gap in this moment with this conversation with one person because something came up for me. Okay, take a moment to try to get curious. You can use the Rise Journal method here, heart inquiry. What am I avoiding? What am I clinging to? Easy questions. Ask your intuition. Offer yourself some compassion. Set an intention. And go to bed. Are there people who aren't worth miracles? I'm struggling with this. Who aren't worth miracles? So you get to construct your reality. In my reality, everything is a miracle. Everything is sacred. Everything is source. But if you disagree, you're allowed to. I'm not going to tell you that they are or aren't, right? We're all constructing our own reality, and you have free will to do what you want to. But I think what I struggle with is when we have these rigid have-tos. That's somebody else's reality. Sit with it. Be curious. Create it intentionally. Do I believe there are people who aren't worth miracles? Do you? Why? Why not? It's not something I'm ever going to agree with you on, but I will respect wherever you land. I think the other part is getting out of this habit of like the secondhand information thing. Tell me what to believe, tell me what to do. I'll show you a practice that will help you get in deeper touch with yourself and put you in a better position to come up with your own alignment on a topic or practice. But I'm not going to tell you what to do, because that's not teaching you how to fish, right? And we want fishermen up in here. Can you heal in the space you've been hurt? Yeah, of course. In most cases, as long as it's not like as long as you have healthy boundaries, right? And the boundaries about what you will do if somebody oversteps. But yes, it takes a lot, and it might move a bit slower at first. But in many cases, when it's not extreme, I would say the place that you've been hurt is where you need to go to heal. Whether it's through journaling and revisiting those experiences, or physically with the person, because you're facing that head on and establishing a deeper understanding. You ever felt stagnant on your journey, like you know it needs to be done, but you have no energy? So, yes, I have felt stagnant at times. But usually in those seasons what I've learned in those seasons, and that was my first feeling, is that if I have no energy, what needs to be done is nothing, is rest. And I need to look more deeply at my journey, because every moment of the journey is the path. It's not just the creating the thing and writing the book and, that's a part of it. And that's beautiful in service. But the ego can very quickly come in. How you are, your state of being in any moment, is the journey. In every experience, that's the journey. Right? That's why I'm always pointing you to your intention. So, creating space to be with you and your state of being and what it's bringing up. And usually I've found in these moments where I find the stagnation, for me, I don't know all the details of your life, right? Or the situation, but it's usually that I'm unconsciously kind of been like programmed into the productive capitalism thing, where I always have to be going and doing the thing, and I need the energy every moment to do the thing, instead of aligning with nature, our true nature. Trees are about to have fall. You're not going to see no leaves. But things are happening underneath the surface, right? And so you need to allow yourself to tend to what's happening underneath the surface, and the fact that you don't have any energy, because your body's telling you something. You need to listen. Is forgiveness something you can do before you're ready? Very interesting wording of the question. And my response, at least in this case, forgiveness is a decision. And I think we have this idea of forgiveness that it's something that I say, oh, I forgive you, and it's over. I think forgiveness is a process. And sometimes it can take hours, weeks, months, years to really let something go. And you'll think, oh, I thought I let that go. Like, get over yourself. No, that hurt. That was tough. That was painful. Your nervous system remembers all of that. So when it comes up, being gentle with yourself, being gentle with the experience, the emotions, and letting it go. Oh, are narcissists miracles? Again, that's a conventional designation. Is that all that person is to you, a narcissist? Is that all their soul is, a narcissist? Are you sure they're a narcissist? Are you a studied, certified, licensed, graduated professional? Or do you just see them in this pattern? All of the behavior is an external expression of our wounding. Except for in cases where it's, right, a real certified narcissist. Oh, just a full-time solo traveler. Okay, yeah, so you need to enjoy the fun. Enjoy the fun. Full-time solo traveler, you have all this time to be, and it feels wrong. That's the issue. And I know that because I was a full-time traveler for 2 years, and I'm about to hit the road again for a couple of months. And at first it feels wrong, right? It's the programming of society. Let that go. I always take my cues from nature, because we are nature, right? We are nature. We are people. We are humans. We are nature. What are all the other animals doing? When it's time to eat, they go figure it out, right? They go hunt. They go gather. They go get the grass. The rest of the time, make sure you're safe and you're enjoying life. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Come on. Like, that's why we're here. Right? I think also that's your nervous system. Still calm knowing. Talk about ascending. People ask me why I'm chill. I've allowed myself to really surrender. For the most part, I still have my days like anybody else. But I'm closer, more aligned with my natural operating system in truth, in the way that I show up for myself these days. Yes, YOLO. So tune into that, right? Like, why? I feel like you're doing something wrong. As soon as I feel myself say wrong or right, I know I'm in the wrong paradigm, right? Because this is just life. It's like it's a canvas. You can do whatever you want, right? You can do whatever you want. Like, don't break the law. Most laws are reasonably just. But you can do whatever you want. Society would tell you men, women, non-binary, right, have to be a certain kind of way. We're still trying to come together and have respect and appreciation and space for those in this other category, this middle category. But clearly, there's a continuum. It's just apparent, right? So we keep trying to put people in boxes. Like, no, honor that, respect that. In the same way, honor and respect what's coming up naturally for you as you travel. Have you ever done the Enneagram test? If so, which one are you? I am a peacemaker, number 9. Love the Enneagram, great tool. Is it normal to feel out of place, especially in a new environment? Everything feels foreign and off. So, I love that question. You get to decide what's normal. But I think my question for you is not what's normal, but what's natural for you. To feel out of place, especially in a new environment, everything feels foreign and off. I would say it's natural. I'm in a new place. I don't know nothing from nothing here. I have to go discover it, right? But I would add to that, how do you feel grounded and anchored in yourself, right? Because the desire for belonging is a part of our makeup as humans, but do you belong enough to yourself, right? To allow yourself to show up authentically, even in the unknown or the new. I don't look for normal because I don't strive to be normal. I think normal is kind of coded for programmed in our current society. I don't want to be programmed. I just want to be naturally who I am. In Conversations with God, Neil Donald Walsh kind of brings this up. He said, what's the difference between normal versus natural, right? Like what's normal in our society, we all know, right? 9 to 5, corporate, the wife, the kids, the house, the thing, the American dream that we all see is crumbling, right? And not that that's totally bad or wrong, but there are aspects of that where we all get fit into these cookie cutter kind of roles, right? And it is my belief that as many people as there are is how many types of people there should be. If we all are embodied in the unique expression of ourselves. And I think the big problem with our world is that most of us are not authentically embodied, right? We're not living into our natural truths. And what naturally comes up for us is how we want to be and express ourselves and what we want to do, right? To create a living for ourselves. That's the problem. This is why everybody's so tense, just trying to survive in this broken system, right? But when we awaken, right, when we go deeper, all let go of the prison of judgment and blame and shame and the rigid hard rights and wrongs and looking to be normal. Everybody else outside of me, tell me what's normal. They don't know what's normal for you. That's between you and the divine. You got to figure that out for yourself. Keep asking yourself, what would I do if I weren't afraid? What would I do if I didn't care so much what other people thought of me? What would I do if I weren't trying to fit in? Fit in is like coded for mask, not be yourself. Trash, right? We always tell people that on the first date. Go be yourself, right? Go be yourself. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. We don't realize they're saying don't worry if the other person likes you or not. Right? Not when we're younger, at least. I think many of us now figured it out in our middle age, right, as adults. But we don't realize that we're in that codependent external validation energy pattern, right? Versus I am love. I love me. And if you don't like me, that's okay. We're just not gonna have a romantic relationship, right? Life goes on, right? I'm not gonna work here. I'm not gonna do that job or whatever the thing is, right? It's our emotional resilience, that piece. Breaking the codependent pattern, being interdependent, right? Open and available to who we are and loving it despite natural conflict or misalignment that we will experience in this life. right? Because underneath the surface, we're all trying to control the outcome, manipulate the outcome. What can I do? I need an edge. I mean, okay, that's how you want to live. It's a waste of your energy. There's so much more than that. And life is so much easier when you just let it go. Oh, that's not my people. They're cool, though. It's that simple, right? Just be who you are, show up with love and compassion and respect for other people's freedom to do the same. Right? It's not that, it doesn't have to be that heavy. Because so many of us strive for these things because we think that's going to give us this energy that we want. This beautiful energy, as someone just described it, of being happy and complete within ourselves and loving and open and available and present. But it's just a practice. You don't have to do anything to feel that way, but sit and feel and create a channel, an openness, an acceptance, a loving energy of yourself and your experiences, enough for the heaviness to fall off. All the ways we've constructed, all the villains in our story, all the heroes, they're all just people trying to figure it out. And if we can see that, rehumanize them, and let go of our perfectionism and illusions of control, we can move with more ease as ourselves, in ourselves, and in the world. Right? You know, as Kira was saying, oh, I feel like I need to do all of these things. I feel stagnant. Good, be stagnant. It's winter. It's just winter. It's winter for your cycle. It may last a few months, it may last a week, right? Enjoy winter. Make some soup, put on a show, turn on the fire, have a good time. Right? It's like, oh, it's winter. Like, capitalism doesn't make any sense, right? And that's why we look at our species and how we function on the planet, it's a lot more like parasites because we're overusing. We're not in a natural balance with things. That's why when COVID happened, you saw wildlife start, oh, we can thrive again because these humans aren't screwing everything up, right? It's simple. It's not always easy because we are emotional beings and that energy is strong and our constructs are stronger in many cases, right? But we're animals on this planet like everything else. We just have big egos, which makes us, do stupid stuff. So I don't know. Is there any other questions? Oh, I was supposed to tell y'all. Forgot. I don't like doing promotions, but I have to. If you guys want to join the Beautiful Souls community, it's a space that I host daily, and we're open this week from today until next Friday, the 19th at midnight, taking 50 new members only. And it's a space to show up and do this work and practice the gifts of mindfulness and talk with each other. So every morning at 7:30 a.m. Central, there's a meditation. I lead it most days. It's new themes. The themes for fall are authentic identity, relationships and connection, and inner wisdom development, right? So we'll be spending about 4 weeks on each one. And we go through 7 days. Monday's meditation, Tuesday's meditation, Wednesday is a somatic practice, feeling the theme in your body through Qigong and yoga. Thursdays is guided journaling. We go a bit deeper. It's not always the Rise Journal. Actually, it really hasn't been much of the Rise Journal in there because we've all done that a lot. But it's more focused prompts on what's coming up specifically for our group. And then Friday is mantra and affirmation practice. Saturdays is silent integration and contemplation, along with our sharing circles, our group coaching. It's when we can talk to each other for about an hour, hour and a half on every Saturday at 9. And have long discussions about what's coming up and work through it together. And Sundays are sound baths, so I just play for that half hour. And it's really beautiful. It's a private social network hosted on my website. And if that resonates or you're curious, you can check it out on my asoulcalledjoel.com. And yeah, that's it. Back to your previously scheduled live stream. Oh yeah, and somebody's asking about replays. So everything's recorded. So everything we've done for the last 2 years are recorded. So you have access to the private social network, daily live Zooms that are in a container. Because as much as I love connecting with new folks on TikTok, a lot of times people come in here with all kinds of energy, that we're not even focused on, and it can be distracting, right? So it's great to be in a container, which is why we only open seasonally, once a quarter. We try to move with the seasons, and we get to develop deep connections with each other. But you also get the Beautiful Souls archive, which now has all the meditations we've done since 2023. So, along with workshops and sound baths. And so there's probably like weeks of sound baths. I think there's over 1,000 meditations on any and every topic you can think of if you ever need some support. And they're all about 25, 30 minutes long. And now we have a growing library of somatic practices from our yoga and qigong teachers, Naima and Charlene. And you also get the fresh perspective of our second meditation teacher, Sybil, who's a sage and a saint, such a beautiful soul. And so we're always looking to expand and evolve our offerings. And if that resonates, we'd love for you to check it out and love to connect with you. And yes, you can access those meditations at any time. It's kind of like logging into, like any other streaming service. You go in. The last 6 months, we've organized them by the themes, because we've just implemented the themes. And the first 2 years were all intuitively guided meditations, where I was guided by the collective energy of our group for each session, for the theme and the practice. Some are traditional mindfulness practices that are closer to the Eastern traditions of just connecting to the breath. But many of them are kind of like the Rise Journal. There's deep inquiry into our heart and intuition, looking for your own guidance. Because again, I'm trying to hold space for you to teach yourself how to fish, and not necessarily just give you the fish or tell you how to be or who to be. And it's open to people of all beliefs and backgrounds. But yeah, you can access that archive at any time. And in fact, most of our members, because we're global, can't make the 7:30 to 8 o'clock half hour in the morning, right? So a majority of them, I would say about 60 to 70% of them only, can access the archive. But they go in there and they comment in there, and we still connect with them that way. And they pop in from time to time into the live sessions, and it's really nice. So I hope that answers your questions. If you have any more, let me see if I can catch up. Can you only join quarterly? Yeah, so it's open. We only open once a quarter, so it's the last week of each season. So this week is the last week of summer, right? And then we close it September 19th. So that way we can have the orientation on Saturday morning. All the new members come in. We meet for an hour. We kind of show you the ropes and connect a bit and give you some basics on meditation. And then up until the last week of winter, or fall, it'll be closed. There won't be any new members. You can upgrade if you want to, like the yearly, the annual membership. There's a monthly membership and an annual membership. And some members decide to do that because it's cheaper once you feel confident that, okay, I want to commit for a year here versus month to month. But outside of that, no new members will be added in between. How do I stay consistent in boundaries for myself? I'm always overgiving and not receiving. Yeah, so you just need to stop giving, it sounds like, or tell it back. Because it sounds like you're giving in the wrong places, right? But of course, it depends on your framework. So we want a healthy sense of reciprocity. I don't necessarily believe in like tit for tat, 50-50, like that's too much. But if it feels like the person's never giving, right, in and out of season, sometimes they're in a low and you offer. But if you're in a space where you're never receiving and you've petitioned those you're in relationship with, then you need to keep the promises you've made to yourself. And staying consistent in that, I would say give yourself grace Let go of the attachment to perfectionism, one, because boundaries are a dynamic thing, in my opinion. And it's relative to the season of life I'm in. It's relative to my capacity in the moment, right? So sometimes I may do more than I want to do. I'm not always consistent in that. Than I mean to do. I might break my own boundary. And then I'll catch myself. I'm like, okay, now I remember. I remember why I said that, but I didn't practice my process. So I let that go. And I just, it's about more grace. Let go of the rigidness, I would say, around the boundary. Think more of like a fluid, natural boundary, like the boundary of the ocean, right? It comes high tide, low tide, early in the day, later in the day, rainy season, dry season, right? And depending on your capacity and what season you're in, you'll have more to give or receive. Higher waters, right? Greater capacity, less capacity. But it's not an electric fence, right? You're a living, dynamic being, and so your boundaries will reflect that. So give yourself that grace, right? It's a wave, it's a tide, right? And if you hit the rocks a little hard, soften, and breathe. I would say the consistency is about gentleness and less harsh, critical judgment of yourself. You go, oh, I'm a human. Okay, we'll do a little better. And going about your business. That's all it needs to be, right? And next time it comes up, you do better. You don't have to punish yourself. Grounding techniques when you're triggered in the moment and you don't name it. Yeah, just breathe. Just breathe. If you're triggered in the moment, the easiest one is an acronym SIFT. Dan Siegel. This is Dr. Dan Siegel's work. SIFT, S-I-F-T. Tune into what sensations you're feeling in your body. Just pause, create some space for yourself, go to the bathroom, whatever you got to do. What sensations am I feeling? Sweaty palms, elevated heart rate, tightness in a part of the body, constriction. Images, sometimes we get images, right? You may get flashes, like a flashback. What images are coming to mind? What feelings? You can name the feeling. Is it sorrow? Is it sadness? Is it anger? Is it frustration? And what thoughts? And just be with them without judgment. Just notice. This is the practice of witnessing, right? So if you're triggered, we immediately think we have to do something to alleviate the emotion. And that's kind of where we mess up. Doesn't mean we don't need to respond if there's a situation. We don't have to do it right away. This is resistance. What you resist, persist. What you resist, persist. What you resist, persist. So don't resist. Be present to it. What sensations, what images, what feelings and thoughts are coming up. This is how you're present to your pattern, present to your activation. It's going to help you better understand yourself. And this information gives you better tools to process this experience, first with yourself and then with the other if necessary, in a way that helps you transcend the pattern, weakens the pattern, right? So being present to what your experience is and allow it. As soon as you name it and stop resisting it, it gets lighter. There's more openness, right? We think it's so bad just to feel it. It's not fun all the time. But once you understand what's happening, the suffering diminishes a bit. It gets a bit more soft and open. Right? Yeah, what you resist, persist. That's why someone was asking earlier, what do you do if you find yourself exhibiting behavior that you once saw in a past lover that didn't work out well? You forgive. Stop resisting their energy or that experience. You need to be in a space of forgiveness and openness to let that go, so that it's no longer a part of how you show up in the world. Right? And that's the mirror aspect of it. I think I can do one more question, and then I'm going to go for a walk. What do you do when the world feels heavy? Breathe. Surrender. And notice what you're holding. And what I mean by that is, you shouldn't be holding the world. So if the world feels heavy, you're probably holding more than your fair share. The world is held by a power greater than you or I. So if the world feels heavy, you're holding more than your fair share. Doesn't mean you don't have empathy for all the things that are happening in the world that are tragic and harmful. But you let go of responsibility of that world and trust it. Trust Source, trust God, Jesus, whatever language resonates for you, right? But the world feels heavy because you're trying to hold it. Yeah, it's heavy. The world is not light, but you're not supposed to hold the world, right? So if I'm in that space where the world feels heavy, I try to breathe, regulate my emotions really slowly. You can do box breathing, right? 4 in, hold 4, exhale 4 out, hold 4, slow down your breathing, right? You just want to keep it safe. Yeah. How's that going for you? Right? We can do something. If you need to be an activist or a political person, if that's your calling, do that. But the whole world, holding the world, are you Atlas? Not very well. Yeah, right? So sometimes we have we come from these people-pleaser patterns, right? We feel like we have to do everything for everyone when we see people struggling. And I'm not saying that's not a great thing to care and want to help. But also do that for yourself. Meaning, what is your capacity? None of us have the capacity to hold the entire world or universe or cosmos that I know of. I don't know, maybe there's some superhumans out there. But we do have the capacity to tend to our family, to our community, in a certain way, from day to day, of varying degrees, right, to our country. And many of us can do that just by showing up to work. That is a service usually to our community of some kind. We can do that by, of course, loving on our dear ones, or a stranger on this side of the road, when we're called to it, even if it's just loving attention and respect for the soul that is before us. If you don't have the extra to give, or you don't have the call to give the extra, right? So, tuning back into, right, the constructs that we don't realize. We see all this going on and we say, oh, I just want to do something. That's the people-pleaser pattern. That's the empathy, the hyper-responsibility. You can still be attuned and have compassion. Send the letters, send your love, send the money that you can to the cause. But these hands are this size for a reason. They are not world-holding size. All right. This song has been on my heart all morning, so I'm going to play this, and then I'm going to bid you adieu. Now I'm hearing that song, So Long Farewell, from, what is it? What is it? It's a squirrel. I can't remember. Sound of Music, thank you. And again, for any of you who are curious, are finding resonance with the idea of joining the Beautiful Souls community to practice meditation every day. To do this work, the themes of fall are authentic identity, relationships and connection, for those of you working on boundaries and relationships, and the last one, inner wisdom development. So cultivating a deeper relationship with your inner knowing, what's natural for you, being self-governing and self-determining. Then it's all available at the site, and if it resonates, we'd love to see you in the morning practice. Hello, Christiana. Welcome, friend. Open up your heart, quiet down your mind. Take a long deep breath into your consciousness. Let it take control this time. Listen to your soul inside. Open up your heart, quiet down your mind. Take a long deep breath into your consciousness. Let it take control this time. Listen to your soul inside. I wanna be light, wanna radiate light, shine my light on you. Don't you wanna be light and radiate light, shine your light on me too. Let it take control this time. Listen to your soul inside. Open up your heart, quiet down your mind. Take a long deep breath into your consciousness. Let it take control this time. Listen to your soul inside. Thank you all for joining me this morning. It's been really wonderful. This day 5 of the journal challenge and post-challenge conversation with you all. Hope you'll join me tomorrow for day 6. And hope to see you in the Beautiful Souls community if that resonates. As registration open today and closes on Friday. Have a wonderful day, beautiful souls. I love you all, and we'll see you soon. Much love and light. Peace.